How many of you have heard of STEM? Now, how many of you have heard of STEAM? This one letter makes a huge difference between science, technology, engineering, math, and science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. I meant to include the arts in there because I, like many others, believe that adding the arts enhances the education of all students and improves the abilities of students across the board in being able to excel in multiple fields. As an art student myself, I have seen the impact that this can make in how you approach different problems, including math and science issues. There are three parts to why making the transition to a STEAM-focused education is essential for all parties. The first is that STEAM works to expand, increase, and continue to acknowledge the transdisciplinary nature of STEM with the inclusion of the arts. The second is that exposure to an arts curriculum has been shown to play a key role in developing innovation and critical thinking. And the third is that students that engage in a STEAM-based education during the K through 12 time period and continue to do so in college are more successful in pursuing what are considered to be STEM-based majors. The first step is to understand what STEAM attempts to do, and it does this through expanding and continuing to acknowledge the transdisciplinary nature of STEM. According to an article published by Quigley and Harrow in the journal Science, Education, and Technology, transdisciplinary approaches use the collective expertise from many disciplines to pose and solve problems in a manner which foregrounds the problem, not the discipline. This supports my first point by explaining the difference between transdisciplinary and what changes its approach from others to integrating STEAM. By understanding the goals of STEAM, you begin to see how its integration helps all parties to grow rather than hurting or limiting either one. Transdisciplinary education focuses on starting with the problem and working from there to find the most effective and integrative solution. This does not limit either field, but rather embraces the aspects of each field that are necessary to solve the problem. According to an observational study published in the Journal of Arts Education by Misquiote and Associates, the exploration of transdisciplinary creative thinking tools and a process-oriented approach to problem solving provides students with a shared language for venturing into a collaborative space of STEAM education. This supports my first main point that STEAM hopes to add to STEM and make it more accessible for all parties. With this quote, it highlights the creation of a shared language, which is needed when working in teams and businesses. Our students don't always utilize mathematics, so how would this benefit them? In many ways, people might think it would be a one-way street for STEM-inclined students being forced out of their comfort zones, while art students get to stay in their comfort zone. Following research done by Miss Wood and Miss Harris, when science and math become entirely quantitative, there's a disconnect between math and real-world applications. And the quantitative orientation is less interesting to those who lean toward art and more right-brained areas. All students enjoy making connections, and they are more successful when they link learning with pleasure. By expanding each student's horizons, it helps to make them more successful. With STEAM, it embraces the many different and varied aspects of the arts field, and employing the STEM focus already present, we can better engage our students in and outside the classroom. Another positive aspect of STEAM that I would like to highlight is that the exposure to arts curriculum has been shown to play a key role in developing innovation and critical thinking. The arts allow a freedom not fully seen in the STEM fields, because STEM tends to think linearly where the arts does not follow a set structure. Critical thinking and innovation are the driving forces behind the new STEM-based ideas. Many of the celebrated technological innovations have occurred because engineers and scientists recognize a need or problem in their lives by thinking critically and developing a new idea to meet that need. In the same study published by Misquiote, focusing on the creative design process as fundamental to engineering and art, emphasizing the role of creative and synthetic thinking to enhance student interest, and showing the value in exploring the science and mathematics that underpin different artistic techniques, address the point by discussing the different ways that the two areas can be used to improve work in both disciplines and highlighting the very easily found connections. Many would say that the engineers who design the products and new technologies are the ones with the ideas that move us forward. And while this is true, it is important to note that artists and athletes can benefit by learning how scientists and mathematicians think and test their thoughts. Likewise, science and math students will advance by understanding how artists think and execute ideas. This supports how the students learn to be more open and innovative in their thought process, but also shows the reverse of how mathematics can be involved in the artistic process as well. By showing students that their fields are not limited to traditional thought process or concepts, it gives them freedom to explore the way they see the world in a critical manner that leads to innovative thinking. The final aspect of a STEAM-based education that I would like to raise is that when you engage in this type of education in the K through 12 years and continue to do so in college, you're more successful in pursuing a STEM-based major. In one study, it is noted that this will strengthen the curriculum, including interpersonal skills and enrich learning through multiple discipline. And the ways of offering these opportunities include the addition of elective courses and integration of the arts and STEM appropriately in respective classes. And it will help prepare students for college. This again supports my third point in establishing a recommended path that would allow students to be exposed to these principles early in their educational career. The inclusion of, or in many cases lack of, arts into a STEM program has impacted the way we approach our education and our abilities to think both critically and creatively. If we begin to introduce this at a younger age, we will prepare them to be more successful in the long run as stronger representatives of the U.S. in the realms of sciences and technology. Research has been noted to say that while booming industry calls for strong STEM programs at a university level, we have very poor retention figures, showing that only 43% of students that enter a four-year institution with a declared STEM majors are actually going to graduate with that degree. This again supports my third point that while STEM initiatives are being pushed, these students are not successful in the long run because they do not have the abilities associated with learning in the higher and the arts. People say we are falling behind other countries, especially in scientific advancement, and others may say that focusing more on the arts will create a larger gap. However, the arts and literature regarding 21st century skill set acknowledge that student success is dependent upon their ability to build relationships, collaborate, design, and manage multiple streams of simultaneous information, which comes from a background in the arts, as this is not often found in the sciences. As we work to continue to improve education in the United States, it is necessary to implement a practice that integrates arts into the existing STEM programs to further progress technologically and continue to integrate. The transdisciplinary nature of this, as well as the exposure to the arts curriculum and innovation and critical thinking, and introducing this at a young age, will allow us to better grow in the coming years.